I do. Hey. All right. Hello, peoples. All right. Move this down. Why is this not moving down? I'll say move, damn it. There we go. Yeah. Figuring all this out, getting it tweaked, and learning every day. And it is a wonderful day. It is now, what is today? The 2nd. My goodness. It is the 2nd of January, 2020. I've got my coffee, I got my water, I've got my generally positive attitude, baby. Like I do. And I got you, whoever is going to show up on this bad boy any minute. Boom! See? I manifested that. I said, people come on, and the people come on, and the people come on, because I said so. All right. Hey. You ever had one of those little things that stick out on your fingernail? You got to bite it. It's the only way to do it. I can't clip it, and then it's like that little thing, and you're like, oh, man, now I got to file it down and everything. But if you just bite the damn thing, usually it goes away. All right. So, welcome to my podcast. I got some announcements today. Pretty cool stuff. So, wait till some of my regulars pop in and have a chit-chat. Because it's some good stuff. I'm just saying. That's a lot of subconscious, what's the word, ahas, or I don't know what you call it, aha moment. Not exactly a eureka moment, but I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, it's good because I speak for a living. So, not quite, well, maybe an epiphany, but I think it's actually a doorway opened because I asked for it. If you know me at all, if you're watching this right now, I'm live right now. Unless, of course, you're watching a recording, in which case I'm recorded now. And it's interesting because I've been, this is going to be my podcast as well. So, the way I do it is I go for about 15 minutes, then I do a podcast for about 30 minutes, and then the last 15 I chat with you guys and answer questions for you. And then all of that goes to YouTube, and then I cut down the audio from that, and that's going to go into my podcast. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to call my podcast. And so you guys get to know. First, I'm calling it the Mindscrambler because I was thinking Spike Spencer Speaks. I was thinking, well, what if I do with the cheat codes? But somebody had cheat codes, and it was kind of, it's not really positive the way I wanted it to be. And then I was thinking about Game On, but people were like, well, is it Game On? Is it sports? Is it video games? What is it? So it's too much stuff going on. And I said, so I went into, basically, you can ask your subconscious mind, and you do it all the time. You say, gosh, I really wish I knew the answer to this. And then you go away and you do something else. And then suddenly, boom, there's that answer. Well, you asked your subconscious mind. It knows everything. It's connected to everything. It's energetic. It's woo-woo, but it's also quantum physics. So I got the answer, and it was so funny. And I knew it as soon as I got the answer. I was like, wait, what? And I was like, this can't be. This can't be. It's too good. Excuse me. I still got that cough from, gosh, to like 2 weeks ago. You guys have some of that? I mean, I know this flu thing has been going around. My friend just came back from New York, and she got incredibly sick up there. And this freaking cough just kind of sticks with you. Like I said on the last podcast, it's like I just kind of sucked in some like breadcrumbs, and they're just kind of stuck right in the chest. And just that metaphor, I bet, made some of you guys cough. You're like, oh my God, oh, that's awful. My tongue's kind of brown. Coffee. So, I don't know what other medical condition would cause that. I'm sorry, he's got a brown tongue. He's done for. Nope. All good. And actually, in my book, Food Game, Man's Ultimate Recipe for Dating Success, I recommend one of the things for upkeep of your body and your mouth, actually, is the tongue scraper. It takes all that junk off, because that is one of the major causes of bad breath. I bet a lot of you guys didn't know that. And so if you're not scraping your tongue regularly, well, shame on you. You should be, because your mouth probably kind of stanky. Anyway, getting back to subconscious, when you ask your subconscious mind something, then it will give you the answer, unless you are consciously telling it what to do. And it will just say, okay, okay, I'll do that. For better or for worse, for negative, positive, whatever it is. But anyway, so I put that out there. And it was so funny because, and you've probably done this before, where you say, oh my gosh, that's the answer. And you know it right away. Whatever it is, you're like, wow, that's the answer to the thing. I'm going to scroll this up so you can look at my amazing hair. What? Yeah. So, and it's like, wow, that's amazing. I know exactly what that was. It's like, as soon as you get the answer, it's like, that is the eureka moment, but it was planted before. And as Albert Einstein said, I think it was Albert Einstein, pretty sure it was, he says, no problem can be solved from the point where the problem began. You have to think elsewhere. So if you're in a problem, if you're in a sticky situation, you cannot solve it from there. You have to get your mind out of there and move forward to where the answer is. Find the answer and then go back. That's just a little tip for you. It has nothing to do with my topic today, which, by the way, I'm going to get into soon. Actually, check on my phone. I write my notes. Like, a lot of the times I get my ideas while I'm sleeping. Which is super cool, which again also talks about the subconscious mind. And so I get these show notes, and I'm like, I don't have it planned out for like the month, anything like that at this point. I will be doing that soon because I've got good news also on more of this. It's not just about the name, which I'll go into in a bit. But also, I just, it just hits me. And I'm like, this is what I need to talk about tomorrow, or whatever. And it's just divine guidance. I just say, it's whatever I need to say is exactly what needs to be said at the right time. Somebody needs to hear this particular message right now. That's why it's coming through my brain and my consciousness, which is connected to all other consciousness, yada yada. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm going to throw that out there, and whoever I am talking to, whoever's listening, is going to really get this message. Because somebody can tell you the same thing over and over again, and you don't hear it, and then some other person can tell you exactly the same thing, and you go, wow, I never thought about it that way before, even though the other person has told you this over and over again for years. So that's one of those things that if you're hearing it from me, maybe it comes from a little bit of a different energy, a different vibe, a different angle, and there you go. So I think that's important. That's one of the great things about doing podcasts and recording them and letting people listen to them later, because the information that I'm going to give you is solid. It's good. And I know this because of who I am and what I've done and what I've been through and the training that I've had and the results that I've seen. So that's going to be cool for you guys. So there you go. We're going to be going over some of that. I'll start my podcast in about 7 minutes or so. And you're here if you'd like to go ahead and put something in the chat room and say hello. I appreciate it. I love to start a conversation. We're building up the community step by step, one person by one person by one person, and I'm going to get to know you guys, and I'm happy to, because I want to build this community, and I want you to share with your friends and let them know. It's like, hey, wow, Spike is on. We got to talk to this guy because he knows what he's talking about. I want to ask some questions of him. He's fun. He's silly. He talks in goofy voices, so it's cool. And there's a lot of fun things we can do. And it's basically, hey, let's have some coffee. Depending on where you are in the world, of course, obviously. If you're in California, where I am, then it's coffee time. If not, well, then I don't know. Hey, Dry Scoobs, how are ya? Oh, the New Year's was wonderfully satisfying and quiet for me. I went to bed at about 10, had a little champagne to cheer on the New Year, and then I went to bed. I got started early the next morning. And it was funny because I've for like years, I've done the same, I've written and felt the same way, let's just say. Now, a couple of different things. Like for New Year's, everybody like celebrates New Year's, and it's awesome. Well, I've done that. I partied my ass off at the best New Year's Eve party in Hollywood for many, many years, and I was invited as well this year. It's our friends up at the top of the Hollywood Hills, and they got a big ball that drops, and it's crazy castle fun thing. But it's a hassle to get. It takes like an hour just to get up there because of parking and waiting in line, and they have a bus that goes back and forth. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I don't want to deal with that stuff this year. We're in Burbank, so it's going to be a lot longer now because we used to live not too far from them. Hey, Red Nova Tyrant, how are you? So I said, well, we're just going to take it easy. And one of the things I also say about 2020, and I think this was on my my podcast 5 shows ago, I think. It was the Christmas lull I talk about from Christmas over to New Year's. And that's the time when everybody starts saying, okay, well, now I'm gonna knuckle down and I'm gonna make my goals and I'm gonna be very excited about 2020. And then by February, you're back to the old thing you were back in November and December and March, April, May, June, everything else is always the same, and we don't change anything because we don't change our habits. And we don't change, our mindset, which everything starts on the inside. So you've got to really, really change from the inside out. So, and what I talked about on the goals there, you can go back and listen to that one because I go a little deeper into it. But it's like saying, oh, I'm going to make a goal by December ... next year. I'm going to have ... Well, that's a year away. So nobody starts doing anything until like 6, 7, 8 months in. They go, am I on track? I don't know. So don't make anything more than 90 days out. That's it. There's a book called The 12-Week Year. Check it out. Because 90 days is about it. You can focus for 90 days. It's not too far out and it's not too close in. You can say, all right, to get to this goal in 90 days, what do I have to do? And then work back from there. And it's a daily thing. There's also another book called, I think it was called One Push-Up or something like that. It's brilliant. I wish I had written the book. I haven't even read it, but just the concept. It says, you know what? Do one push-up. Somebody says, I'm going to do 50 push-ups a day. I'm going to do 50 push-ups a day. And they can't do one at that point in time. So here's the idea. Do one. Because once you're down there, you're going to be like, well, I did one. I can probably do 2. Maybe 3. You might get like 5 pumped out. And then you're golden. And you're like, wow, I did 5. So instead of saying, well, I did 5, I only got 45 to go. You can say, I was going to do 1 and I did 5. I did 500% more than I was going to do. I am pretty awesome. Boom. See what I'm saying? That's a really, really great idea. So good concept. I like it. And that's what I've said all along. I'm always like, don't make these huge, crazy goals that you're never going to hit. I've done it every year. I am guilty. Guilty. I have done this over and over again. I've got all these goals. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I don't get even close. I don't even get like 1/10 of the way to my goals. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? I mean, certain levels of my life, I have absolutely stunning 100%. Well, that's all I say, 90%, because you always need room for improvement. But I don't 90%, I got it golden. Because, like relationships and connection and communication, for the most part, I'm pretty good at. I know there's lots of places where I can get better. But the mere fact that I know that puts me ahead of most people. Most people are like, oh, I'm good. I got it all taken care of. No, you don't. So, anyway, my point is that you just have to do it in increments. Go slower, do a little bit at a time, but that's the other podcast. I'm getting ready to start my podcast today, which, if you saw the title, is funny, and because that's kind of how I roll. My titles are funny, and I try to keep things light, and I want you to laugh and enjoy yourself and be inspired by what I'm talking about. So I will start my podcast in just a minute. So if anybody has any quick questions they want to hit me on, I've got about a minute, and then I'll get going on it. So I will share with all of you very soon. In 1 minute, if nobody has anything, I will go ahead and start. Okay, let's do this. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Hello, and welcome to the Mindscrambler podcast. Yes, I'm calling it the Mindscrambler. I figured it out, finally. Awesome. My name is Spike Spencer, and this is my podcast. We are talking about all things of the mind, because that's pretty much where everything is, guys. I came about this name, the Mindscrambler, literally yesterday, I think. And here's the thing. I have told people about the subconscious mind. I'm an NLP certified coach, and I am a bank certified trainer, and I've trained with some Tony Robbins people. I've trained with Brendon Burchard a little bit. I mean, I have done a lot of work in this arena, and I've seen it myself. I've manifested a lot of things in my life, some of which it really surprised me. Actually, we manifest everything in our life, but when you intentionally say, I'm going to manifest this, and then it happens. And you're like, whoa, holy moly. And it's an ongoing process. So I'm not a master at it in any way, shape, or form. But the podcast, I've been really racking my brain. I've been like, well, I want to call it Cheat Codes. There's another podcast out there that was Cheat Codes, but it wasn't happening now. But then there were other Cheat Code podcasts, so it's kind of used a lot. I was like, well, no. Then there was... I was thinking about Game On, but that's because I'm focusing mostly for video games, comics, and animation, anime, that realm, the sci-fi, the nerd community, you could say, because I'm ensconced firmly in that community. I've been in it for 30 years, and I can also do business stuff and everything. But you know what? That's not who I am. I'm like, who am I really? What do I want to do? And if you're true to yourself, then things will come through. And so I kept thinking, well, it's Spike Spencer Speaks, but you don't really want to. Sometimes there's a good and a bad about, well, it's your name, but then again, you might want to call it something else. So some of the coaches that we have are thinking, have a good name and move on. So what I did was I tapped into my subconscious mind, and I actually have a name for my subconscious mind. And I said, hey, let's do this. And it's like before you go to bed, you ask yourself, when you're just about to go to sleep, you kind of relax and you're almost there, and you just kind of, okay, subconscious mind, listen, I need a name for the podcast. I'm looking for, what's going to help me in voiceover, what's going to help me in real estate, what's going to help me in business, what's going to help me in speaking, blah, 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 blah. You know everything. So I need a really good name. And that's it. I just want to get that done and past me and go. So I went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up, and I'm in there working breakfast, getting some coffee, like now. Coffee. Now it's cold. I like hot coffee. I will have more after this. And what happened was I was sitting there, and I got this scene in my head out of nowhere. There was nothing that would have triggered this at all. But it was the coolest scene. If you remember Weird Science, one of my favorite movies. I was there. I was, roughly that age in 83, 84, 87, whatever it was. And Kelly LeBrock, if you don't know the subtext of this, it's two guys who, it was Anthony Michael Hall and Ian Mitchell Smith. They are kind of geeks, and they made a woman. Out of, just computer parts and tapping into some military stuff. It's cheeseball 80s stuff. And they make Kelly LeBrock, who's super mega hot. And so she is everything that they wanted. They typed in. So she's like this crazy party vixen and wants to have sex with them all the time and, wants to take them everywhere. And she basically takes them out of their shell and turns their lives upside down in an awesome, awesome way. So, because they like these two other girls. And so what Kelly LeBrock does, she goes over and talks to these other two girls. And she has this line, and she looks at the girls, and she says, have you showered with them? Have you showered with them yet? Oh, you must. Absolute mind scrambler. Hurts so good. I was like, that was in my head, that scene. And I was like, holy crap, mind scrambler. And so I was like, there's no way. I mean, Mind Scrambler, somebody's got that. Nope. I looked at podcasts. I did searches. Google search podcast. Google search Mind Scrambler. There's some ride at some whatever, and somebody wrote a book. But it's like there's no Mind Scrambler podcast. Mindscrambler.com was taken, but the Mindscrambler.com was not. So guess who owns the Mindscrambler.com? This guy. And I said, Mind Scrambler podcast. The Mind Scrambler podcast. That is this podcast now. Boom! Thank you, and you were there when it happened. And that's just a little bit of the power of the subconscious mind. It will take over and show you what you need. So you just have to listen to it. And that brings me to our subject today, which is you farted. And that's okay. What the hell does that mean, Spike? Well, here's the thing. We all fuck up. There, I dropped an F-bomb. We all fuck up. We all do stupid things. We are human. And it's interesting because for some reason, most of us pound things in our head. We're so hard on ourselves. And that's the problem. You're so hard on yourself, you're thinking that other people are being hard on you, but that's a story you're telling yourself sometimes. Because a lot of times, there is no one else being hard on you because, guess what? Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about you, all right, in this context. They're busy living their lives. They don't care. They may care about you for a while. I'm not saying that people that love you and your family, etc., don't care about you. No, they love you and they're there for you. But people at large, the people you think might judge you, might have an opinion of you, might blah, 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 you're not on their radar for the most part. So that's the good and the bad. It's like, hey, guess what? Oh, no, I'm sad. Nobody gives a shit about me. It's like, whoa, hold on. Be happy. Nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody cares. Go do what you want. Be who you are. Do your thing. But the angle that I'm pointing out here is that all these people that you're thinking are going to care, opinionated, judge, etc., you're stacking them up on your back. Well, they're not even there. That is all the story that you're telling yourself. You're putting these people on your back. In essence, you are on your back. Why? Well, because you think you have to be superhuman. You're not. You are a superhuman. You're super. And that's true. But you're not superhuman. You're a human, as are every one of those other people. They all have issues. They all do things. They all put their pants on and, one leg at a time, unless they have a special machine. Don't ask me. They all poop. They all fart. They all pee. They do. We all do this thing. We all have the same bodily functions. We burp. We get gas. We have bad days. We have good days. We are who we are. They are too. So, the point is, have you ever been at a party or something and, man, you got a fart? Whoa! And now you're like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Why? Because everybody's looking at you. Wow, you farted. Look at each one of them, goes, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it, you've done it, so shut up. Exactly. When you own that, when you realize everybody else has done this, everybody else has farted at the wrong time. And it could be a problem. I actually wrote an article. I was going to do a book called Hot Women Fart Too. So just to get you in your head where it's like, hey, it's not a big deal. These things happen, and they do happen. And I add to that, not just a fart, but a faux pas. You forget somebody's name. Ever done that? I have. I've done it a lot. I'm telling myself a new story that I remember people's names always, because I told myself for years, man, I just can't remember people's names. I just can't remember people's names. Over and over and over again. So guess what happens when I'm looking at somebody, I can't remember their name. Why is that? Because I've been telling my subconscious mind, I can't remember somebody's name. My subconscious mind says what? Okay, you can't remember his name. And therefore, boom, I can't remember his name. Because that's what my subconscious mind says. It's like going, oh, yeah, well, you can't remember his name. Remember that? You told me that a long time ago. You're horrible at this, so let me give you that evidence to show you that, yes, you are right. You can't remember people's name. So now I tell myself, I am great at remembering people's names. I am like a freaking safe, because you are. You have everybody you've ever met in your life is in your subconscious mind. Everyone. Certain people can tap into that. For example, I hear Bill Clinton was just absolutely a master at that. Also highly NLP trained, by the way. He was a master at remembering people's names. Brian Tracy could remember people's names from years before that he'd only met once. You go, oh, you're Johnny. How's the family? Did you ever get that promotion? Wow, because they tapped into it. And they know how to do that, and that is a skill like anything else. You have to work at it. That's where the Mindscrambler comes in, guys, because that'll scramble your mind. When I tell you some of these things, you're like, a lot of you guys have never heard of this. A lot of you don't even understand that you're doing this every day, and you're telling yourself a story that you can or cannot do that. And your subconscious mind says, okay, great. So now tell it a different story. So if you do something like fart or forget somebody's name, or you fail, you say something stupid on a date and wreck the relationship. Not saying that I've ever done that multiple times. Read my book. I learned this. I said stupid things. And sometimes I meant to do it because I'm like, okay, well, I don't know where this relationship is going, so I'm going to throw something in there. Either this is going to make us go woohoo, or it's going to be gone. And a few times it was gone. Sometimes it was woohoo. So again, life is a risk. Life is what it is. If you can understand and see, like the zoom out I've talked about, zoom out and look at everything from a different perspective, which was my last podcast, you can see that you have a lot of power. And you make these decisions. You're not in the vortex. You're above the vortex. You see the vortex, and you realize that vortex is spinning around, and that's that second, that's that moment. But the rest of your life is very, very calm, very nice. So once that vortex calms down, subsides, goes away, well, your life is back to normal. So when you do something that you're giving yourself a hard time about, well, ask yourself this question: has this ever happened to another human being? Has it? Probably so. Yeah. It has happened to somebody else. We've all had these moments where we do something stupid. We lose money. We spend money. We get swindled out of money. What happens? Does it happen to you? Yeah, it happens to everybody. You do something and you're just like, wow, I feel horrible about that. And then you find out through information, you do some study, and you go, wow, that could have been avoided. Well, it couldn't have been avoided by you with the knowledge you had prior. So you did the best you could with the information you had at the time. That's a whole other podcast, but that is the truth. You make the best decisions you can possibly make with the information and tools that you have at the time. So therefore, how can you be upset? And I tell people the only way you could possibly be upset is if you know personally that you did not do your best. And in that case, you can scold yourself for a minute and go, oh, well, you did not. Are you going to do better next time? Yes, I am. Subconscious mind, we're going to do better next time, right? Okay. Great. Awesome. Let's do it. So that's it. You're going to do that and remind yourself that you're human, because we all are in this game together. So understand, anybody that's judging you, by the way, it's called perception projection. If you see it in others, you have it in yourself. It's like the simplest way to say that is, hey, if you're pointing your finger at somebody else, remember you've got 3 fingers pointing back at you. So that's the thing, and it is, you're all right. You're okay. You're fantastic. You are a superhuman. And I don't mean that in a cheeseball way. You are. Here's the interesting thing. You don't realize how superhuman you really are. Have you ever heard the stories of people doing crazy superhuman things? Well, everyone has that ability. Everyone has that ability, because we are all hugely powerful in our brains, in our energy that we can do. Like when a mom, the baby, a car is rolling towards her baby, and she throws the car, flips the car over, something like that, or lifts the car with one hand and grabs her baby. That's physically impossible, but not to her, because she was like, this is what's going to happen. And if she had had 1 second, 1 millisecond of actual critical conscious thought, my baby, I can't lift that car, she would not be able to lift that car. But in the action, it's straight up action, 100% subconscious power, tapping in And that's what she's able to do. We're all able to do that. We can heal ourselves with our mind. Our mind heals ourselves anyway. You ever cut yourself? It heals, right? Did you think about it? Did you do it? Did you sit and focus? Heal, 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 heal. No, you didn't. Your subconscious takes care of all of that. That's why the subconscious mind runs your freaking body and your life. So when you, back to on topic here, it's a human experience that we're living. There are right decisions, wrong decisions, good decisions, bad decisions. They're decisions. And all of them are probably made with the best intentions by anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. Either they think they're right and they're making a decision. Well, that's not your decision. That's not your choice. I mean, they're making decisions based on everything that's happened into their life to this point. You do the same thing. So therefore, how can your decision be wrong? Because you're making it with the best intentions, with the best information, and the best tools that you have for the best outcome that you see at that moment in time to the best of your ability. Is that correct? Yes, it should be. I mean, it's like, I constantly make bad decisions. Then stop making bad decisions. You know, if you know you make bad decisions, start saying, hey, I make really good decisions. And do it. And just do it. You know, I mean, I make bad decisions. Well, what's your subconscious mind going to say? Okay. And you're going to make bad decisions. So say, I make good decisions with the best, to the best of my ability, with the best information and the best tools I have at this moment in time, and I'm doing my best. And if for some reason my decision leads to something that doesn't work out right, or something that is not really good for my life, or whatever it is, I can always make another decision. Woohoo! Yay! How fun is that? So, if you are being hard on yourself, please recognize that. My wife is incredibly good at that, at being hard on herself. I am a freaking pro at being hard on myself. So, together we help each other. We go, you're being really hard on yourself right now. And I think you need to stop that. I'm like, oh, am I? Yeah. Okay. Let's fix that. You know, let's be better. Because you can fix that. You know, we fail. We fail often. We fail on multiple levels. And everyone does. Now, their viewpoint on that failure is different. And I think I did a podcast on that one as well. And I'm sure I'll do plenty on that. Because failure is simply a lesson. You either win or you learn a lesson. You either make a good decision that works out in your favor, or you learn how not to do something and tweak it and make a decision until it gets to where you want it to be. So when something happens and you think everybody else is going to judge you, remember, A, they don't care. They're busy with their own stuff. They're thinking the same thing you are. Everybody's judging me. Well, if they're thinking everybody's judging me, then where do they have time to judge you? Which, by the way, we do judge everybody, everywhere, all the time, multiple times a day. That's life. So get over that. Because, yes, people are going to judge you. You're going to wear a shirt. I got a shirt on right now. Somebody's going to say, I really don't like that shirt. Well, it's Tommy Hilfiger. It's a really good shirt. I mean, it's a nice, whatever. It's like, yeah, I don't like that. That's my judgment. Okay, great. I'm wearing it. I don't give a crap. So if somebody doesn't like it, fine. That's their judgment. I don't like blue. Well, I can't help you with that. Spike looks like he's broadcasting from where he dismembers bodies. Well, okay, that might be true, because this is my little sound studio, which, by the way, segue. Tomorrow, I get the internet set up in the garage where I have the studio with the lights and all that. So I am going to be moving into that hopefully by next Tuesday. No, definitely by next Tuesday. Probably even by Sunday night's broadcast. We'll be out there breaking it in. I'll have Kim out there with me. Because there, I'm going to be able to have guests and friends come over, and we can chit-chat, and some people that you guys want to meet. I'll be able to bring them in, and we'll talk about, gaming or videos or audio or voiceover or producing or animation, whatever it is. I'll have some friends over, and it's going to be really relaxed. Or I might even just have them in the kitchen, and I might just cook, I haven't figured out, because, usually on Sunday I call it food for thought. So I don't really do a podcast per se, but I do a live Twitch stream on Sunday nights for a different audience because I can't, if it's 9 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursdays, well, that's one group, but I need to have a nighttime one, so that's what I do. Excuse me. And I make it easier. I make it easier to just relax and so that I can actually do these things. Because if I made this too hard for me, podcasting and all the things that I need to do, then I'm not going to be able to do it. It's a lot to do. A lot goes into podcasts and, audio streams. So I'm excited that I'm able to finally make these things happen. I've been trying to do this for years, and I have to work on that because I'm trying. I've been trying. Trying is a key word for me, and that's not a good word to have. It's not a strong word. So if you say, well, I'm trying, then you're not doing. And I'm telling myself this as much as I'm telling you, because trying is not a strong word. Trying means, oh, well, at least I tried. It's like the LA RSVP. So the Los Angeles RSVP is like, I'll try to be there. We'll try to be there. So it's like you want credit for trying, and you're not going to show up. So it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. I see what you did there. And I just say, nope, not going to be there. But if I do, hey, surprise, it'll be awesome. Everybody have fun. So back to the where we were. I want to clarify that you make your decisions based on the best you have. And sometimes you make bad decisions. Sometimes you make self-destructive decisions because you think all these bad things and you're on your back. That's like when I said, whatever you tell, you have manifested everything in your life. So if you tell yourself that, I'm bad, I'm lonely, I'm never going to get anywhere, I'm unsuccessful, all the negative things that you're telling yourself, remember what your subconscious is saying. Okay. Therefore, that's what you're going to see over and over again. So you're going to make these decisions that will validate that, and that's going to push you further on to give you proof that you are correct in saying these things. And a lot of times you're doing it because you think other people are judging, or, somebody said something bad to you. And this is where a lot of bullying comes in. And this is one of those things where if you can look at it from this standpoint and say, those bullies they have problems. Brendan Bouchard says it this way: hurt people hurt people. So bullies, what are they? Most of the times they're hurt people. They have issues. They have problems. Maybe they are, if you have some compassion for them and go, okay, they're treating me like this, they're saying these bad things like this because they're lashing out. Perception, projection. Now, it's up to me to decide whether I take that, whether I believe that. And this is something I used to do when somebody would say something to me and hey, Spike, you're an asshole. I'd go, okay, let's analyze that for a second. Am I an asshole? And I would ask myself, I'd say, okay, am I being an asshole right now? Well, first of all, I am not an asshole. If I did something that was assholish, that means I did something that was assholish. And I can say, you know what? Okay, you are right. What I did right there, the way I should have reacted, was being an ass. So I do apologize for that. I will make amends, and we will move past that. And everything's great. You're done. You've done it. You've said you've apologized. You recognize they are right. You go, you are right. Thank you for pointing that out. If you are not, you go through your head and you say, wait a minute, no, I'm not. I said everything with best intentions. I feel I was polite, la, 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 la. You run through all of the filters and you go, no, I was not being an asshole. Therefore, I have nothing to apologize for. Maybe you need to look into who you are being and how you're seeing things. That's a power tool that you can use, because most people just automatically go, oh, they called me an asshole. Oh my gosh, it hurts me. Why? Were you being an asshole? And if you say no, then it's like, wait a minute, that has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. And that takes them off your back. And remember, they do this too. And especially if they're pointing it out, that perception projection thing. A lot of times they're doing it and it's really about them. So to give you a little metaphor for that, so it's an old joke. Guy walks out of his apartment, going down the street, bumps into somebody who's rude. Goes, man, you're rude. And then goes on during the day, goes out to lunch and does some stuff, bumps into somebody, and they're like, God, you're so rude. And in the afternoon, he's walking through the park, bumps into somebody, you're so rude. And at night, he goes out to dinner, and he bumps into somebody, you're so rude. It's like, wait a minute. If you bump into somebody, if it happens once, maybe. Twice, maybe. 3 times, probably not. 4 times, you're rude. You're the asshat. Look inward. And that's the point. You've all seen this. We've all seen somebody who does that. And you're like, wow. It's like they don't know. You know why? Because they don't know. They don't realize they're doing these things. And a lot of times you can't tell them. A lot of times it's your family members. And you're like, wow, you do this all the time. There can be a way to broach the subject, but it takes a little work and finesse, and that's something that you have to deal with. Some of the tools that I'll give you in these podcasts will help you with that. But the bottom line is, for you right now, this is what I want you to get, is that it's not you. It's not you. So stop jumping on your own back. I say get off your own back. How can somebody be on their own back? I don't know. You tell me, because you're probably on your own back. If you are acting like everybody else is perfect, but you're the problem, then you're on your own back. If you're upset, you're thinking, man, I should be this, I should be that, I should be blah, blah, blah. You're shooting all over yourself. Stop that. You are where you are. You're exactly where you are. What next step you take is up to you. Are you going to take a step that says, hey, I am powerful, I am a superhuman, and I can be better. And I'm going to analyze. I'm going to look at my life, and I'm going to get off my own back for a second and realize, hey, I did this thing. Think about 5 things that you've done that you're like, wow, I'm embarrassed or I feel shame about. Go back, look at them from 40-foot level and look down and go, wait a minute, I did that. Other people have done that. People do it every day, all the time. What am I worrying about? Why am I focusing on that one thing for me and beating myself up about that? Why? Look at them all. Just look, 40-foot level, look down, go, whoa. Okay, so that happened. Oh, I farted. In the middle of a wedding. Whoa! People are going to look back on that and laugh their asses off, okay? And you're like, yeah, I know. You drank too much and said stupid shit. Well, it's probably on film somewhere. Not that I would know that, because that never happens to me. Ever. But you go, wow, you know what? Has anybody else ever done that? Has anybody else ever maybe drank a little too much and said something they regret? No, of course not. Yes. Other people have done that too. So when somebody says, hey, you know what? It's that whole judge not lest ye be judged sort of thing. And again, we judge all the time, everywhere, but this is a little different level of the judging, is more along the lines of, hey, it's not about judging, it's about condemning. See, I judge somebody. It's like, that's a big hat. I judge that to be too big of a hat for their head. So what? That's an opinion, is what that is. So judgments are basically opinions. And they're like assholes, everybody's got one. We've heard that. But when somebody condemns you for something, that's where the judging comes in. That's when they say the biblical judging is condemning someone for that. And that's when you stone them and that sort of thing. It's like, wait a minute, are you condemning them for something that you've probably done yourself? Now, did anybody stone you for that? Probably not. Maybe you got away with it, or maybe they forgave you and said, oh, you're just human. Because guess what? You are just human. Well, you're more than that, but that's a different podcast. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's wrap it up. Remember these things. Get off your own back. You have the power to decide if someone else is right or wrong in your life, according to you. So take a second when you feel bad and somebody's done something or said something to you. Go, wait a minute, is this a true statement? And if it's not a true statement, then say, wow, that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me. That is not a true statement. If it is a true statement, own up to it, make amends, and move on. That takes all the power away. You're not on your back anymore. Realize that other people judging you is pretty much not happening. And it is happening. It is happening, but it's not happening. Not to the point, they're not condemning you, which is what you think they're doing. They're not condemning you. They're judging you. And that's an opinion. Everybody's got one. You can't do a damn thing about their opinions. Relax. They're not on your back. They don't care. They've forgotten about whatever it is. Anything you're keeping in you right now that's like on your back, something you did maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, most people don't even remember it. They don't even remember it. They're like, oh yeah, I remember you had that night, you got drunk and you said some bad stuff. I don't even remember what you said, but yeah, you were kind of an ass that night. Yeah, I sure was. Okay, let's go. That's it. But you are putting it so much weight on that moment that it's crushing you. You have to find a way to get past that. And there's a lot of ways of doing that. If it's something that, now I'm not a medical doctor in any way, shape, or form. I'm not giving any medical advice in any way, shape, or form. I'm giving you context and ways of looking at things. It's just viewpoints. And that's what I want you to realize. You have your viewpoints. They have their viewpoints. You are in charge of your viewpoints and how you deal with them and how you work with those. And it's all inside of you. You're only human. So just be it. It's a human experience. Fart. All right, guys. This has been a lovely podcast. I've really enjoyed talking about this because I think it's a valuable thing, and I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope you'll share this with your friends because these messages, these concepts, these viewpoints are valuable, they're valid, they're powerful if you put them into action. And that's what this podcast, The Mindscrambler, is about. Shifting all these stories we've been given, all this crap that society has put on us and in our brains and our upbringing, our childhoods, television, news, everything is in our brains. That is scrambled. We're going to unscramble it. Actually, that it is all unscrambled, Mindscrambler. Anyway, I'll work on that. I'll work on how to say this, but it really is the Mindscrambler. I'm going to shift it all and mess it up for you in the best possible way. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I will be back here again next Tuesday, 9 a.m. on Twitch. So I'll see you then, guys. Adios. Have a fantastic day. End of podcast now. There we go. All right. Woo. How was that, guys? You're in the chat line. You know how this works. I can chat with you now. If you have any questions, now is the time, people. Spec clapped right there. I got rubber banded in Minecraft. I don't know what rubber banded is. The thing is, I am in and of the video game arena. Jimmy Ricardo, how are you, my friend? A good one, definitely resonated with me a bit. Excellent. There's a lot I can take for any of these podcasts. I can take like one iota of that and really run with it, and I will down the road. That's what some of the coaching is about. I'm going to be putting I'm working on more products that in the merchandise area. I may do a button that's like coaching, because the coaching, my products are coaching a lot of that, and one of those is a group. It's the low tier thing. It's called the Reluctant Heroes Journey, which is a group where I will be doing more coaching there. And cool, Jimmy. I highly recommend you rewatch it. Some great things are happening. I've got some great news. The podcast is called The Mindscrambler now. I've got the studio is going to be set up, so next one will probably be in the studio. Very excited about that. So I'm going to go play with that a little bit today and tomorrow. And kind of dress up the set a little bit, have my books behind me, that sort of thing. But not too much. So it's going to be cool. And hopefully I'll have my microphone will be set up. I've got another microphone that we use. I may have to buy another one because my wife uses one as well. So we'll see. Rubber banding is when you're walking in a direction in a game and suddenly lag spikes and you are yanked back a few spaces where you just were. Okay, gotcha. Understood. Somebody told me I was rubber banding before, and it was that kind of thing. So that's what that meant. Gotcha. So, you think, Jimmy? A reluctant hero. I've voiced so many effeminate little girly boys who save the world in biomechanical robots. It's ridiculous. And that's the key. That's the cue, guys. That's why the Reluctant Hero's journey is so important, because think about it. Reluctant heroes. The Hobbit. Look at the Matrix. Neo. Reluctant hero. He's like, no, I don't want this. It's like that is the core of so many stories and animes and video games. It's like, hey, you're just a regular guy. Oh, guess what? Now you're fighting zombies. Look at The Walking Dead. All normal people. They had to become superhuman. Most of your stories are a reluctant hero's journey. So a lot of you are not being the heroes of your own story. And that's what this group is going to be about. It's going to be about, basically, it's the stuff I'm doing with the podcast, only I'm going to go deeper. And I'm still working on the structure of that, but what it's going to be is it's going to be $8 a month. It's a membership. And there I'm going to do 1 hour. I think I'm going to do 1 hour of coaching a week there, which I will be repurposing for other things because it's a low tier thing. And for the rest of the time, it'll be that group where it'll be, chat, and we really dive into stuff. It's not like, hey, here's a podcast, I'm going to tell you all this stuff. I'm going to say, no, here's what you're doing. I will take and show you real life examples, and we will get in there. So it's like taking the Twitch community, which is more fun, and we're out there and everything, but this is like hands-on stuff. And then there's coaching. Otherwise, like, for example, I just did a coaching session recently, which is I do a strategy session. It's a 90-minute strategy session where somebody's like, okay, I really want to get my relationships lined up for 2020. I'm doing a special right now because it's usually $149, but I do it now for $99. I don't know how long I'm going to be doing that. So if you guys are interested in really getting in there and getting a strategy lined up, then you need to talk to me about that because it's going to be $99. As I used to say, it's cheaper than a nice night out, and you'll find somebody. It's like Food Game, the book I wrote, Food Game, A Man's Ultimate Recipe for Dating Success, is $14.99. I'm like, you can't take her to freaking Wiener Schnitzel for that much. It's like, I can show you how to get dates over and over and over again for that. It's insane. But anyway, it's the same idea. It's like, coaching is valuable. I have coaches. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaches. And if you're a coach and you're not being coached, then you're not really a coach, and I am being coached. I'm being coached in real estate right now. I'm being coached in NLP. I've got coaching from, Tony Robbins' group. I can ask my coaches. And thank you, Jimmy. Food Game is legit. And I look at this and I'm thinking, all right, I'm stepping into where I need to be, and I want you guys to come with me, and I want you to tell your friends because you're going to learn a lot. I have not even scratched the surface. You guys know my story for the most part. Some of you guys know my story and how I had to build myself up from nothing, from literally losing everything in my life at 35. Now, some of you guys are young and you're like, man, I'm just getting started. It's like, yeah, well, try to get to 35 and then lose it all. And then 7 years later, meet the love of your life, who is 19 years younger than you. Yes, I'm 51 years old and my wife is 32. So, and my baby boy is 2.5. So, by the way, guys, if that doesn't tell you that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to dating and relationships, which I've taught for 14 years plus, yeah, I do. So, and she's my proof, and you guys have seen her on some of the podcasts. She's an amazing coach. Amazing. She is working with like 7-figure earners and teaching them how to, really, really rock and roll. One of them just did a post on her Facebook. If you're following her, it's Kimberly Spencer. It might be Crown Yourself on the Facebook fan page. I highly recommend you watch her. She has a ton of great information. And one of her clients just bought like this serious Jaguar car, like super expensive. And he said right in the post, he's like, thank you to Kimberly Spencer, who showed me how to, make this happen. So, okay, Jimmy, cool. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you. Even if I don't remember exactly where it was, because I meet a lot of people. I am happy to meet you guys anywhere and everywhere. I love it. And as a matter of fact, we're ramping up to get out there more and more in 2020. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 cons scheduled internationally already, working on more now. And as we get this podcast rocking and rolling and let other people in the community know that I'm here and, we're really doing work. I mean, we're having a good time, being silly. And I'm going to play some games once I get everything set up out there in the new studio and have more power. And I'll bring another computer, and I'll maybe get a gaming system and play some of the games like that I'm in. Maybe a little bit, because I don't know. I would love to be able to play some games. I love video games, man. You kidding me? If I can find a way to make money from it, yeah, you bet. It's like I play 1 hour, I play an hour a week or 2 hours a week, and it's making me money. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. But I could play like World of Warcraft or League of Legends or, some Evangelion games or Bleach games, or I don't even know what all's out there I'm in. There's a lot of them. So I can play it like, hey, that's my character. I'm killing myself. Whatever. And have some of my friends over, and we play, whatever. I don't know. I do like video games. I like the older video games. Like I told you guys the story. I was in Scottsdale recently at an Airbnb that was an old-time, it was a retro gaming Airbnb. Man, they had Atari 1, Nintendo 1, Sega 1, everything, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had just tons. It was an amazing place. And I ended up only playing Sony PlayStation 2 Crash Bandicoot for 5. We were there for 5 days, and I ended up playing Crash 2 and 3 from front to end, and I won 2, got that all the way through, and then 3 I got all the way to the last thing where you're flying and trying to kill that the professor or whatever, the crazy guy, I forgot his name, and I got all the way through to as far as I could go, and then we had to leave. And it's like I needed another 10 minutes, and I could probably do it. I was so close, man. So that's an open loop for me. Am I being on my own back about this? I may be. So anyway, I hope you guys have had a good time. I love doing this. There's the things called your zone of excellence and your zone of genius. And there's others. There's zone of competence, I forgot what they were. It's a great book called, oh my gosh, what is it called? The Big Leap, by Gay Hendricks, G-A-Y, Gay Hendricks. It is a really great book, and they talk about being in your zone of genius. Your zone of excellence, for example, voiceover is my zone of excellence. I'm very good at it. I know it. I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm very good at it. My zone of genius is when I'm voicing original characters that I come up with. There's a little tweak there. Like I'm working on a show. It's been in my brain. I'm finally put it on paper, and I'm looking to make a story Bible for it and actually pitch as a show out here. And I've got these characters in my brain. They've been rattling around in there for years. And I'm like, when I think about them, I laugh my ass off. Some of these things that I've put together, and I'm like, that's genius. That's my zone of genius, coming up with these crazy characters and having fun with them. Doing other people's characters like anime, dubbing, etc., stuff like that, I'm excellent at that. I'm top-notch. I'm one of the best. But that is another level. It's like, give me a zone of genius where the original animation, when you can really get in there, oh, that's where I am. That's where I am. So I'm focusing on that. That's my zone of genius. Like, for example, if you saw Get Blake, I was Mitch. There were 20,000 people that auditioned for that role. It was an original, so I didn't have to lip sync. And so I was like, this is the character. I know this character. Let's do this. And so I did it, and I got it, and it kind of went nowhere, sadly, but it's really good. So if you can find it on Nickelodeon, Get Blake, I'm Mitch. But that's the point. Find out what your zone of genius is. And I'll do a whole podcast on this later on. But that's where I just want to go right now. That this podcasting, speaking, is one of my zones of genius. Kim tells me that, when I'm in front of a crowd, that's when I am on. I am that's my zone of genius. I am a very good speaker publicly. You can look at my website, spikespencer.com, and I've got a demo reel of me speaking publicly and just having a ball, and you'll see. It's like I'm in my element, and that's what I want to do. As part of what I'm putting together. And 2020 is the year. My goal is I am getting this stuff lined up where I now have systems in place where it's like, okay, this is a business. So I'm going to do A, B, and C. That's what this business does. And I'm going to do it. Because whereas I would used to go, I would go A, C, R, D. I didn't know because I just don't know. I was like, I don't know what to do. But the bottom line is just do something. and then tweak as you go. So I'm doing this now. I started this podcast. I don't even have the podcast out yet. It's just Twitch. I haven't even pulled the audio yet and set up a podcast for it. I'm in the process of that, but now I have the audio. It's all on YouTube now, so you go to my YouTube channel, and it's all there. All of these videos are there, and now I can pull that audio from YouTube, cut it down. There's that 30 minutes before I clap, that's my audio, that's my podcast. And I can take that and then do whatever you do to make it a podcast, because I don't know yet. I'm working on that too. All right, guys. It's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's time for Spike Spencer to go do other shit. All right, guys, have a fantastic, amazing, extraordinary day. Jimmy, Dry Ice Cubes, Retro, Red Nova Tyrant, how are you? You guys, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys. I get to see you guys. Yeah, good. Check out the book recommendations. You will love them. Thank you guys so much. I will see you here again. Let's see. It's Thursday, so Sunday night. I will look on my fan page, my Facebook fan page. Look on. If you're on my email list, then I'll get you an email on that. But I think if you're not on my email list, then go to spikespencer.com. Go over to Voice fan page, fan club. Thank you. Fan club. Sign up there. That'll get me an email, and I'll put you on the email list. So those are the ways I'm contacting people now. Twitter, having some issues with that, trying to figure that out, and Instagram. So, but yeah, if I do a grand opening on Sunday night with Kim, I will let everybody know, and we will be live at the new studio, and I'm going to be very excited about that. Wow. If not, next week it'll happen. All right, guys, have an amazing day, and I will chat with y'all later. Adios.